Had you heard of the name Levi Kitchen as early as 2020? No? Don't worry, only the most hardcore of motocross fans had. But in January 2023, Levi Kitchen stood on the winner's podium at Anaheim 2, surprising everyone watching. Just 2 years before, he was still an amateur racer. Even more remarkable, in 2024, he came within a whisker of winning a Porsche GT3 RS. This is the story of Levi Kitchen, a young talent from the Pacific Northwest who has quickly risen to the top of the Supercross world. In the rainy forest of Washington State, a young Levi Kitchen found his love for dirt bikes. Far from the famous training spots in California and Florida, Kitchen would take an unconventional path. Unlike many future pros who started winning as kids, Kitchen's path was different. He was what you might call a late bloomer, not shocking everyone until 2020. In 2017 and 2018, while future rivals were collecting big amateur titles and sponsorships, Kitchen was quietly racing in local events, developing his skills without much attention. The attention, though, would come. For motocross riders hoping to become pros, the big test is racing at Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, also known as Loretta Lynn's. In 2019, Kitchen made his first appearance there, competing in the 250A class, the last step before turning pro. And what happened in Levi's first 2020 pro steps will shock you. 2020 was when everything changed. In a performance that shocked everyone, Levi Kitchen dominated the Loretta Lynn's Amateur National, winning championships in both the 250 Pro Sport and Open Pro Sport classes, the biggest amateur titles. This win changed everything. Almost overnight, Kitchen went from being a local talent to winning the sport's biggest amateur award, the Nicky Hayden AMA Horizon Award. And what few people know is that Kitchen was actually supposed to sign with the Geico Honda team after his Loretta Lynn's success. He had a 3-year deal lined up, but in a shocking turn, the team folded, leaving Kitchen without a ride at the worst possible time. So much for turning pro. Kitchen had to return to Rock River Yamaha for the Mini Olympics. Luckily, he performed well there, beating Star Racing Yamaha riders LeBlanc and Thrasher. This caught the attention of Will Hahn from Star Racing Yamaha. In December 2020, Kitchen officially joined the Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha team. His time as an amateur was over, but the real challenge was just starting. This is also where he would come toe-to-toe with his teammate and biggest rival, Haiden Deegan. And by the time the 2025 gate was ready to drop, they had traded jabs online. But that would not turn out how anyone expected. Kitchen made his professional debut at the Redwood National in 2021, finishing 12th overall. He then competed in more rounds of the AMA Pro Motocross Championship, finishing 19th overall despite only racing in 4 of the 12 events. The 2022 season was Kitchen's first full year as a pro. Racing in the Western Regional 250 Supercross Championship, he showed impressive consistency for a rookie. The outdoor season showed much improvement. Kitchen raced all 12 rounds of the Pro Motocross Championship, getting 3 podium finishes and placing 7th overall, much better than his first partial season. 2023 was Kitchen's breakout year, but it also wouldn't be enough for Levi. January 28th, 2023, Anaheim 2, Kitchen won his first professional race, less than 2 years after turning pro. The win sent a clear message to everyone. Levi Kitchen had arrived. That summer, Kitchen proved his success wasn't just in stadiums, but it took until July 2024 at the challenging Spring Creek track to win his first professional motocross overall victory. By the end of the 2023 season, Kitchen had positioned himself as a top contender, finishing 3rd in the 250 Supercross West Region Championship, 5th in the AMA Pro Motocross Championship, and 4th in the new Super Motocross World Championship. But Levi was getting a reputation for only going fast when he got out in front at the start. And then he left what many believe to be the best 250 bike to sign with Pro Circuit Kawasaki. It was a big risk, but would that risk pay off? His time with Yamaha had been impressive. 4 AMA Motocross overall podiums, and 4 AMA Supercross 250 main event podiums. But after 3 successful years, he wanted more, so it was time for a change. For 2024, Kitchen made the major change. Different bike, different team, different training program. The gamble paid off. Kitchen had his best season yet, holding the red plate in the Monster Energy AMA Supercross, claiming multiple wins and podium finishes. What few fans realised though, is that Kitchen's move to Pro Circuit Kawasaki wasn't just a simple team switch. It was the result of a secret testing process that began months earlier. During his final year with Star Racing Yamaha, Kitchen received calls from multiple teams. KTM was interested. The new Triumph team made an offer. Pro Circuit Kawasaki was in the mix too. To properly evaluate his options, Kitchen did something riders rarely discuss publicly. He secretly tested bikes from rival manufacturers while still under contract. He would call in sick to Star and fly to different locations to test rival bikes before quickly returning to his regular training schedule. Kitchen revealed he was nervous about the whoops when he visited Pro Circuit Kawasaki. "I'd go out there nervous to hit those Pro Circuit whoops," Kitchen admits, "but I thought, I have to see if this bike works. I clicked into 5th gear, hit them wide open, and the thing didn't move. That sold me." The track was bone dry that day, with deeply rutted, edged out whoops that would intimidate even a rider of Kitchen's caliber. Yet the Kawasaki remained planted and responsive, giving Kitchen the confidence he needed in his decision. His choice wasn't just about money. Kitchen left substantial money on the table to sign with Pro Circuit. The Triumph offer included his own gear deal, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But Kitchen bet on himself and the bike he believed could win championships. And for a lot of the 2024 Supercross season, it seemed as though Levi would claim his first 250 title. Then a bad race in Nashville saw RJ Hampshire close the points gap. They went into the final round tied in points. Winner takes all, but it wouldn't be that simple. To throw an extra complication into the title battle, the final race is an east-west showdown. A full field of the best 250 riders. But Levi knew what he had to do. Finish ahead of his friend and rival RJ Hampshire. Taking this title would pocket him $500,000, and as reward to himself, a Porsche GT3 RS. Kitchen and Hampshire finished 1-2 in the heat race. Advantage Kitchen. Time for the main event. Kitchen got pinched off by Haiden Deegan one gate to his inside, which ruined his start. Simultaneously, Hampshire nailed his start, and a first turn manoeuvre had him about 4th, 4 positions ahead of Kitchen. Unfortunately for Kitchen, that was the closest he would ever be to Hampshire for the remainder of the race. The title and the car were so close, but would have to wait until 2025. Although he came up just short of the Supercross title to RJ Hampshire, finishing 2nd overall, Kitchen continued to shine in the outdoors. He earned his first overall wins in the AMA Pro Motocross Championship and finished 3rd in the 250 class standings. Kitchen's decision to leave Star Racing Yamaha marked a pivotal shift in his approach to training, one that would fundamentally transform both his riding and his mindset. At Star, the program was structured around constant competition. Riders trained together, pushed each other daily, and essentially raced every time they rode. While this approach works for some, Kitchen found himself burning out mentally. What really was weird for me is when I started to realise I was racing every single day. Kitchen reflects on his time at Star. I would be the fastest guy during the week, then show up to the race and get 6th. It was giving me false confidence. The pressure to perform during every practice session created a paradoxical problem. Kitchen would exhaust himself physically and mentally before race weekends even arrived. His focus on winning each practice session often left him depleted when it mattered most. His move to Pro Circuit Kawasaki and working with Peter Park allowed for a complete reset. Instead of focusing on beating teammates in practice, Kitchen's new program centered on personal improvement and sustainability. Now there were so many days where I wouldn't even have a stopwatch on me, Kitchen explains. The pit board would just say, breathe, or straighten you back in the whoops. I strictly went off how I felt. This freedom allowed Kitchen to work on weaknesses in a safe place, without the pressure of being judged by teammates or coaches. He could have bad practice days, but still maintain confidence for race day, because he wasn't constantly measuring himself against others. The results spoke for themselves. Kitchen's consistency improved dramatically under the new program, with multiple wins and podium finishes demonstrating that sometimes less competitive pressure during the week translates to better performance on weekends. More importantly, Kitchen rediscovered his love for riding, something that had begun to fade under the previous program's intensity. The renewed enjoyment translated directly to his improved results both in Supercross and Motocross. Then came the 2025 off-season. As Kitchen prepares for 2025, exciting rivalries are developing. His competition with former teammate Haiden Deegan heated up during the 2024 outdoor season. In fact, it has become one of the sport's most compelling storylines, a dynamic that echoes a classic matchup from motocross history. Jason Lawrence comes to mind, Kitchen reflects. He was the bad guy, and it was sweet. And then you had RV, who was the good, quiet guy. Honestly, I think you've seen a perfect rematch of that with me and Haiden. The contrast between Kitchen's laid-back, soft-spoken demeanour and Deegan's outspoken style has created a natural hero-villain dynamic, reminiscent of the Villopoto-Lawrence rivalry that captivated fans in the late 2000s. Kitchen isn't afraid of the competition this rivalry brings. When asked about his commitment to winning, he acknowledged he would go to extraordinary lengths if necessary, even if it meant risky moves that could potentially affect both riders' results. Deegan won the 250 MX Championship with consistent podiums. Kitchen came on strong at the end, winning 3 of the last 4 races, but it wasn't enough to overtake Deegan in the standings. The two riders have traded comments online, with Kitchen even calling out Deegan for skipping the Motocross of Nations. When asked about the rivalries, Kitchen stays focused. If it's off the track, I don't really care. That stuff is not really my personality. But if it comes down to like on the track, then that's when things could have some fireworks. But Levi then took it to another level. He contacted his old team to see what coast Haiden would be riding. A direct challenge. He wanted to go whichever coast Haiden was going. The West it was. That set up a tantalising opening round, putting all eyes on Levi and Haiden. Was the war of words going to spill over onto the track? Unfortunately, we didn't get to find out. Levi never made it to the start gate, pulling out of the West Coast due to illness. Haiden obviously had something to say about this on Instagram. In reality though, it was a loss for the fans, but it was certainly going to create a stacked East Coast. And could Levi Kitchen come out on top? After such a successful first year with Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Kitchen was looking ahead to 2025 with confidence. A confidence that would be questioned almost instantly. Kitchen shared his thoughts about the upcoming season. Last year was pretty close, and it was pretty fun. I just have another year under my belt. I feel stronger, and I know the bike a lot better. Everything's kind of routine, which I think is important for anyone. So I think this is a good year for sure. Kitchen's approach to racing has matured too. He now works with a mental coach to help manage the pressures of being a championship contender. The opening night in Tampa didn't go as planned though, with a 9th in the main event. Levi regrouped and came out swinging in the second round, looking like a completely different rider. And in a series of fortunate events, he took the top step of the podium at Detroit. Next stop, Daytona. Levi didn't make the best of starts, but he had got himself into 3rd and was closing in on second. But then, disaster struck. Levi tried to wheelie into a gully after the finish, and that kicked the back of his Kawasaki up violently and resulted in a brutal and scary over-the-bars crash. He was a massive wreck, and a lap later the red flag came out. His injuries were severe: a broken collarbone and several fractures to his upper back. 2025 Supercross season written off in an instant. He recently posted a video on Instagram of him riding a Kawasaki KX 450, testing for the AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The Pro Motocross season kicks off on May 24th in California. Fingers crossed he comes back fully healed, ready to challenge in outdoors. Away from the track, Levi Kitchen is a man of unexpected passions. Unlike the stereotypical energy drink fueled motocross star, Kitchen finds his peace on the water with a fishing rod in hand. Fishing taught me patience, Kitchen explains. Growing up, I hated it. My dad would ask if I wanted to go fishing on the weekend, and I'd say no because it meant sitting on a boat for 6 hours. As I got older, I realised the point isn't catching fish, it's about enjoying being out there. This love for fishing goes beyond casual hobby status. Kitchen owns a tournament-ready bass boat that he regularly takes out on Wednesdays between races for local fishing competitions. He even scored a podium finish in these tournaments, much to the frustration of the old dudes with their 60 grand rigs, who get beaten by the motocross kid. His outdoor interests extend beyond fishing. Kitchen is a passionate golfer who can shoot in the 70s on his best days. He's part of a small community of motocross riders who pursue golf seriously, though he admits Jordan Smith, who once considered going pro in golf, is the undisputed king of the links among racers. These pursuits aren't just hobbies, they're mental escapes that allow Kitchen to decompress from the intense pressure of professional racing. Even his trainer Peter approves of his fishing days, viewing them as perfect active recovery that won't deplete Kitchen's energy reserves needed for training. Looking to the future, Kitchen already envisions his post-racing life. I want to take a year when I'm done and just travel in a camping van, going fishing. It's this laid-back, authentic approach to life that has endeared him to fans looking for someone relatable in a sport often defined by intensity. With multiple professional wins in both racing types, Kitchen has already done what many riders spend their whole careers trying to achieve, but his story is far from over. For the quiet talent from Washington, the biggest achievements may still be ahead. Championship glory awaits. The 450 class beckons. The Haiden Deegan rivalry may just be on pause. And maybe, just maybe, if he captures that elusive championship, Kitchen might finally treat himself to that Porsche GT3 RS he's been dreaming about. Do you think Levi Kitchen has got a 250 title in him, or will he continue to come up short like so many others? Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated.